And here's how we'll greet ya. Stop, fool. Come off that beat ya. Eddie Hearn is jacking for beats. He takes Teofimo and George Kambosos. Triller in default. Oh my gosh. Act like y'all know so. Subscribe. Stay tuned to this video. We coming up with the latest and greatest. See you soon. Edward Hearn does it. Triller is in default. Eddie Hearn on his verified social media handle, he says, I am delighted to confirm that Rematchroom Boxing will be promoting the big Teofimo Lopez versus George Kambosos unified matchup live on DAZN. Date and venue announced shortly. Let's get this show on Z-Road. Wow. Breaking news. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Before I get into my thoughts, throw a like on the video. Somehow, some way you guys found this video, made it to you. So encourage others to find the video by a free, simple gesture, throwing a like on the video. It definitely goes a long way when you guys do that. So appreciate you guys. And let's talk about it. Eddie Hearn has now received the rights to this particular fight with Teofimo Lopez and George Kambosos. So I'm happy. This is a good look for at least Eddie Hearn and DAZN picking up a fight that has been lingering on. I don't know what's going on with Triller and boxing. Triller confirmed recently that they had dumped Teofimo Lopez and they were continuing their show. I think they have KRS-One. The bridge is over. The bridge is over. And Big Daddy Kane, they're doing a versus and they're doing a show, but they moved on with their show without Teofimo. So this is a big win for Eddie Hearn. He was a second place runner-up bidder in the purse bid. Now, this is a huge, and I do mean huge, L for Teofimo Lopez. This is why. Teofimo Lopez, I think this has been going on for so long. I want to say it's about February of this year. We're almost to February of next year. Teofimo still hasn't fought. Teofimo, after beating Lomachenko, in my opinion, got big-headed. He started tweeting Mayweather and saying, you and Logan Paul ain't fighting on my date. He told everyone that would listen that he's only fighting for $5 million, and his own promoter and ESPN, if they don't know his worth, then they're going to whoever is going to show and know their worth. And this is kind of the demeanor from Teofimo and Teofimo Sr. David McWater. So they literally bit off more than they can chew. And to see this whole Teofimo Kambosos fight and how it's unfolded, it looks bad. Where are all the people? See, and the funny thing is this, y'all will give me my credit for what I present and give to this boxing game. But where are those people who, when I said X, Y, and Z, I said, we'll see how it plays out, but I could see this backfire. I said these things back then. I was like, $6 million for a fight like this is overkill. No offense to George Kambosos, but it just wasn't worth that type of fight. Me being in boxing and knowing boxing and the business of boxing, it just wasn't that type of fight that you're serving up that type of payola for, right? Cool fight, mandatory fight, I get all that. But to say it's worth $6 million is a definite stretch. So the fight was never worth $6 million. And I told you that. But if Triller, they were the new kids on the block like Donnie Wahlberg, and they said they had $6 million, so I said fair play to Teo. I don't see exactly how this is going to work. This was, when Triller bid for this was at a time before they had the big three and the versus battle and stuff like that. So they could have been desperate for content earlier in the year, and they might have just overstated how much this fight was worth. But as time wore on, I think they really found out quickly that Teofimo isn't the level of star that he is proclaimed to be. And this is exactly what I told you. The great Ego Stradamus strikes again. You can't merely talk yourself up and not have what you say show up. Like Floyd Mayweather, he talked his talk. He said, I'm the biggest, I'm the A-side, I'm the cash cow, but he was doing those numbers to back up those claims. Teofimo has never even been on pay-per-view, yet he's saying he's bigger and the A-side over Gervonta Davis, who has been on pay-per-view and will probably continue to do more pay-per-views. And he's doing these live gates in Atlanta and Baltimore, etc. Right? So none of this stuff made sense, but this is how Teofimo and his team continue to act. Bob Arum, you got to credit him. For a person who's been in boxing so long, you could tell, you know, whether you agree with everything Bob Arum does or whatever, you have to admit Bob Arum knows the business. Bob Arum told you from the beginning, just like I, that this fight ain't no $6 million fight. Now, the downside for Top Rank is this. The downside is he still got outbid and he was the third place bidder. So even when Triller defaulted, the fight didn't go back to Top Rank and ESPN, and they just amended Teofimo's contract. So that's a bad look and an L for them, because even with the default of Triller, they still don't get the fight. And now Eddie Hearn is saying, I'm the runner-up. We got the money to put that fight on, and we're going to put on DAZN. DAZN desperately needs American fights as well, as I've always talked about on my channel. So this is a cool come up for them, and they don't have like ready-made big fights and stars. So at least they could say we have a multi-belt unification type of fight that has been talked about. Both fighters seem confident, and that's going to be on DAZN. So that's a come up for Eddie Hearn. But Bob Arum, he told you, just like I told you, that Teofimo, you know, this is not that type of fight. Teofimo was the one telling you it was that type of fight, and it is a big fight, and he's this massive star that commands $5 million paydays. And then one thing after another, it's been horrible. First, they moved off the date because of Floyd Mayweather, someone that Teofimo said wouldn't have any effect on his date. Then they moved off for that. Then they said Teofimo had the Rona the week of the fight, so then the fight got canceled. Teofimo, the fight was going to happen in Miami and Florida, and they was like, we got J-Lo and all this other stuff. And then they moved it from Miami, and they were trying to put it in Australia, trying to recoup the money because they seen it wasn't selling tickets, similar to what Leonard Ellerbe and Mayweather Promotions and Gervonta Davis were saying, right? And what I was saying. And at the end of the day, Teo's team refuted that, and they didn't want to go to Australia because of a 14-day quarantine. So they're like, no way. But Triller, as a business, they were like, man, we trying to recoup our money. You're not selling the units that you said you would. So it's just like, let's say this was the music industry. It's like Teofimo told Triller that he was Drake. So when he drops Certified Lover Boy, you expecting Drake first week sales. You're expecting him to chart. You're expecting him to have singles on the Billboard. You're expecting the Spotify and Apple Music and Tidal, the streams to be in the millions and billions, and all the streams go up. But that's the difference between telling people and showing people. Teofimo told you he's Drake, but then he didn't sell like Drake, right? So this is just a bad look. And then now, if you really think about it, it's a bad look because he did all this to get away from Top Rank and get paid what he's worth. But the $6 million winning bid is a thing of the past, as I mentioned, because Triller defaulted and they like, we want out. We want. What Triller did was similar to Cuba Gooding Jr. in the movie Boys in the Hood. Rest in peace to John Singleton. When they were playing that saxophone and Doughboy was in the whip, in the topless, in the drop top, and then Cuba Gooding Jr., they were about to go get revenge on the enemies, and then Trey was like, Doe, let me out. And it's like, and it is they had the background score, Doe, let me out. That's Triller. They Trey Styles. They said, T.O., let me out. T.O., let me out. And they let him out the car because he didn't want no parts of that. He didn't want to retaliate with them. That's Triller. They said, let me out the whip, because they seen that Teofimo wasn't selling. And if you really look at it, another thing that makes it look bad in the L for Teofimo is this. Teofimo said he's this massive 5 million star and all this stuff. Triller defaulted, so he's not getting the 6 million. He's getting a percentage split per the IBF rules of whatever Eddie Hearn bid, which was, I believe, half of what Triller bid. Like, I don't have the exact figure as of recording this video, but you guys can look it up. You know, I don't have to spoon feed you everything. Eddie Hearn roughly bid 2-3 million. So the amount you're getting when you get your slice and you get your cut per IBF per split rules would probably be closer to what Bob Arum was trying to give you, and you could have stayed on your home network. You could have stayed with your home promoter. You could have not had that debacle in front of everybody. And at the end of the day, it wouldn't have looked bad. Now you got to fight on somebody else's platform, and you got to fight for somebody else's promotion, and just you and your promotion look bad because they lost in that sense, and you didn't listen to Boxingego, you didn't listen to Bob Arum and the people who got it right. So, you know, congrats to Eddie Hearn for securing this fight. He defaulted, and it looks like they and the other thing is this. Top Rank got mad at Eddie Hearn for bidding on this, because I guess they told him not to bid on it, and he did it anyway. And now look, he got the fight. Boom. Subscribe to the channel. Use my link in the description if you're ordering Wilder versus Fury 3. Big fight this weekend. That's all I got to say regarding this TO. I'll be back with some more heat. Subscribe to the channel if you like it. I'm out.